Hello and welcome to Prairie Pulse. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we'll hear from Thief River Falls, Minnesota band, The Woodpicks. But joining me now is photographer and author Troy Larson, author of a website, Ghost of North Dakota. Troy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
As we get started, tell the folks a little bit about yourself and your background, maybe where you're originally from.
I'm a radio producer, and I'm a father and husband, and I'm originally from Minot, North Dakota. Settled in Fargo in about 2002, and Fargo's been my home ever since. An amateur photographer, something I do for fun to get away from the hustle and bustle on the weekends. And since 2003, along with my business partner Terry Hinnenkamp, we've been documenting North Dakota's ghost towns, near ghost towns, and abandoned places on our website.
Well, okay, there you go. It's a website that you've got called Ghost of North Dakota, but it's not real ghost, it's ghost towns, I guess.
That's correct.
That you've got. And there you go, you're talking about your partner there, and you started this, how did you get started in even wanting to do this project?
Well, as I said, I'm a radio professional, and Terry and I worked at a radio station together, and we actually got started by accident. We had an idea that for Halloween one year that it might be fun to spend a night in an abandoned location and record our experiences for a Halloween radio program. Well, the promotion never happened, but in the process of planning for the promotion, we started scouting locations, and we found a few abandoned locations, and in the process of that, we kind of came to understand that we had a mutual appreciation for abandoned places, history, architecture, and it wasn't very long after that we started going to abandoned places and what we were told were ghost towns to check them out, take some photos, and that eventually turned into ghostsofnorthdakota.com, which is the website we have now.
Okay, and again, is there a definition you use, or is it, you said that you keep saying abandoned places, and you've referred to ghost towns, so obviously some of these are formerly towns that are just now a couple of buildings left probably. I've been on your website, so.
Yeah, the definition isn't concrete. There are ghost towns, near ghost towns, abandoned places. We do have some on our website. We have some what we call true ghost towns, places where absolutely nobody lives anymore. Some places as examples would be Lincoln Valley, North Dakota, Hesper, North Dakota, places like that, where there is nobody left. There are still buildings remaining, but nobody lives there, population zero. And then there are also near ghost towns where you have a handful of people or 10 people who still live there, primarily aging populations most of the time. And then also we visit just single abandoned locations, like an abandoned military installation, or maybe a bridge that's been closed down, a railroad bridge that's no longer in use, that type of thing.
Okay. Well, of course, during this interview, our viewers are going to be seeing some of your photos as we talk here, but then I assume the way you've talked, you've traveled pretty much all over North Dakota looking at some of these sites, and can you tell us about your travels?
We have at our last estimate, we estimated that we've traveled well over 10,000 miles inside the borders of North Dakota, and we've been to all four corners of the state. Since we're based out of Fargo, obviously we've probably covered the eastern part of the state a lot more than we've done the western part of the state. Those trips take a lot out of you, 7.5, 8 hours of driving just to get out there sometimes. But we've covered all four corners of the state, and it's been an amazing experience to see the different terrain, the different things you can expect in different parts of the state, from the Turtle Mountains up north to the buttes out west and the rolling drift prairie in the central part of the state. It's really been an amazing experience.
I would imagine. So, what's the feeling that you get when you get into some of these abandoned sites or ghost towns? Is it an eerie feeling or a surreal feeling? What do you sense when you get there?
It can be any number of things. There have been a few times where we've driven into a town and there's nobody around, and you see a big black bird lift off from the roof of an abandoned building, and there is an eerie feeling sometimes, and other times it's absolutely peaceful. That's the thing that always strikes me when we're in one of these towns is how quiet it is. You get out of the car and you shut the car off, and when the car stops running, it is silent. And frequently there's no highways nearby, so there's no traffic noise. And it's an amazingly peaceful feeling to be out there in an age when you so frequently have your phone ringing at all hours. It's always on you. You get out in a place like this, and you're sometimes reminded when you see these buildings the kind of life that people must have lived 100 or 120 years ago. The peaceful feeling of being away from the cities and away from the hustle and bustle of city life, and at the same time the hard work that it must have been to survive in a place like that.
And Troy, I guess you've talked as far as ghost towns and not abandoning facilities, but ghost towns. Are you saying there's 10 or 12 in North Dakota, or?
There are probably quite a few more than that.
Okay.
The real the obstacle, I suppose, to naming all of them is that there are lots of them that are completely gone now, that there's no record of. So, we've been to 10 or 12, I think, that are absolutely true ghost towns, population zero. There's probably another 10 or 20 that we still have to go to in terms of true ghost towns.
Yeah, so, in your research and what happened to these towns, I assume it's been for different reasons from town to town, but.
It is a number of reasons. There are some things that most of these towns have in common. A lot of North Dakota's ghost towns are the result of the industrial age and the decline of the steam locomotive. The steam trains could only travel so many miles before they had to refill. So when the steam train went away, probably half the little tiny towns in North Dakota evaporated, and then when the automobile came about, the rail line wasn't as important as it used to be. So some of those more predictable things contributed to a lot of the decline of these towns. And then at the same time, you've got the harsh North Dakota winters, you've got natural disasters. Bucyrus, North Dakota recently is a perfect example of that. A wind-driven wildfire wiped out about half the town. That's one of the towns that we had on our website. Luckily, we photographed it before the fire, which brings to mind that really has become the main purpose for our website and for the book project, is to photograph these places before they're gone. Whatever happens to them, we'd like to be able to have photographs so that people can remember them, and that there's a record of these places when they're no longer around.
Well, sure, you're helping preserve that. What's been the response thus far to your website and to your photos?
We've been blown away by the response. Part of the reason we've continued to do this so long is because the response has been so overwhelmingly positive since we first began this project. From the time we first put up a website and shared the photos, people have been responding with positive words of encouragement, suggestions where we should go. Everybody wants to see their small town on the website, it seems, so the response has been great.
I imagine so. Photography nowadays has changed from film to digital, but what kind of equipment are you using, and how do you go about getting these photographs?
We've had to change with the times. We started out using film, very I would say low-rent equipment. We started out using digital cameras, even video cameras, and taking still photo captures from video cameras. And we have changed with the times as well. Terry and I both use digital SLR cameras now, and that way we don't have to deal with film development and that type of thing. So we use the latest technology now.
How do you know when you've captured that perfect photograph?
Sometimes we don't until we get home and we load up the photos in our computer and we take a look and we go, oh wow, look at that one, But occasionally you'll capture one out in the field, and frequently what happens is I'll be driving on the way home and Terry will pull out his camera and he'll start previewing the photos and he'll go, oh, look at that one. And he'll hold the camera. Probably shouldn't be looking at it while I'm driving, but sometimes you can't help yourself. You see one and you go, oh, that's going to be a great one. So you just never can tell. There's a lot of experimentation that goes on. We try different angles, try different things, get low, get high, get the best photo you can, and just hope for the best.
Well, and photography classes, I mean, you can take a lot of them, but you know, my philosophy is take a lot of pictures and hope you get one.
That's
I don't know
right.
how many. Do you have a ratio? How many pictures do you take in a if you were looking at an abandoned facility or whatever? How many would you take and to try to get that one?
Yeah, we take a lot. I don't know if I can put a specific number on it, but I know, for example, on our last trip, I think Terry took 700 photos, and I took somewhere in the range of 450. And of that number, probably 100 get posted on the website. So
Well, there you go. It gives you some ratio there.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about your travel time. You mentioned 10,000 miles, but what about during the year? I mean, do you map out? We're going to do X number and do the research on these ghost areas that you go to?
we kind of fly by the seat of our pants a lot in terms of how many we're going to do next year. We kind of have an off season where in the winter we don't do a lot. We maintain the website, we take feedback from our users, people will give us ideas where to go, and we'll just start some planning. And then when spring arrives, or when we feel like it's going to be warm enough weather that we can explore without getting too wet, we'll start planning a trip. We'll plan a trip of, say, 5 or 6 different places that we want to photograph. And then we'll just go out and photograph those places all in one trip. Depending on where they are, that could mean a 1-day trip, a 2-day trip with an overnight stay in the middle.
Yeah. Well, obviously you said there's some other places you want to go, but are you expanding into other states?
We have actually started a website for Minnesota as well at ghostsofmn.com. And we've discovered that that's a little different experience than North Dakota. We have ties to Minnesota as well. I've lived a good portion of my life in Minnesota before I moved back to North Dakota. But we've discovered that it's a little different in Minnesota, whereas in North Dakota there are a lot of railroad ghost towns and things like that. In Minnesota there are so many lakes that a lot of the areas have not withered away the way they have in North Dakota, because people still use these as resort destinations or as lake homes. So in Minnesota, it's more of individual destinations, an abandoned school here. We recently photographed the abandoned Weetown Outlaw Speedway in Fergus Falls. So it's those kinds of destinations that we've been photographing in Minnesota.
Well, can you tell us maybe about some of the interesting places you visit, or do you have any interesting stories you might share, or one or two here?
Sure. One of the most incredible experiences we had when we first started exploring in North Dakota was when we discovered Lincoln Valley, North Dakota. The first time we visited there, the last resident of Lincoln Valley moved out in the 1970s, and the town has been standing there empty ever since. And it was really the first time that we had ever driven into a place where there were multiple buildings and homes still standing, and the grass is waist high, and yet there's nobody around, there's no traffic. So exploring that, we spent all day there exploring that, got covered in wood ticks. But it was an incredible experience exploring it. And the other one that comes to mind for me recently is a location that we accidentally trespassed. We went to explore the Stanley R. Mickelson Safeguard Complex up near Nakoma, North Dakota, which is an abandoned military installation, and at one time was a missile defense facility. It was open for a very short period of time and then was closed down. And we had been told about it many times. People had submitted photos of it, so we thought, well, we're going to be in that area, let's go see it. And we drove up to the front gate, which was standing wide open, and we saw a garage door open and we saw a flag flying. So we thought, well, there must be somebody here. Let's just drive in, and if we run into somebody, we'll ask them for permission to photograph the place. Well, we drove in, we didn't see anybody, we didn't run into anybody, so we just got out and started taking pictures. And within about 30 minutes, a man in a black pickup who was quite angry with us showed up and basically kicked us off the property and told us that there were no trespassing signs on the gate. And when we drove out, we looked back and we saw that there was a no trespassing sign on the gate, but because the gate was open, it was partially obscured behind a fence post. So we apologized, but we also posted the photos, and it was an incredible experience.
Wow. All right. I understand, of course, you've got a coffee table book of the photographs you're looking to get published, and you did a Kickstarter campaign to do that. How's that going so far, and what's your timetable for the publishing?
Our Kickstarter campaign was successful. We just wrapped it up recently. We set a goal to raise $12,175 so that we could print our book, and that was successful. We met our goal by about $800. And so right now we're in a waiting period to receive our funding. And once we receive our funding, we'll be able to get it printed. And we've hopefully under-promised. We told everybody we hope to have the book out by March at the latest. We're hoping maybe to have it by the end of the year if everything goes as planned.
Can you talk about a Kickstarter program just a little bit, and maybe explain how people can contribute to it and how it works?
Sure. Well, Kickstarter is something I just recently became aware of. It's a funding mechanism that people in the arts, creative people, can use to fund their projects. Banks don't always lend to creative projects the way they do to other things. So this is a method for people who are creative, interested in the arts, to fund each other's projects. Our Kickstarter campaign was a 30-day campaign, and it's over. So people can no longer contribute. But if someone in the arts wants to start their own Kickstarter campaign, the premise is you set your goal, you ask for a certain amount of funding, you set a timetable, and if you reach your goal within, say, 30 days or 60 days, everyone's credit card gets charged and you get your funding. And if you don't reach your goal, nothing happens, no one gets charged, and you just go on with your project.
Sure. Let's go back to go into these places. Do you visit with old timers from that around these towns and get stories, or because you go to the town, nobody's there, there's nobody to talk to. So what do you do?
We do frequently run into people, and many times they are old timers, and they're always eager to talk. They're always eager to tell us their stories. Sometimes we're on a limited time frame, so we don't always get to talk to everybody we want, but people do like to tell us their stories. And one example of that is Tagus, North Dakota, which is west of Minot. The stories we're told aren't always the most cheerful stories, and Tagus was an example of that, where we met one of the residents. There were only a few remaining residents, and we met one of the residents who told us about the loss of their church. And that is frequently something that causes the end of some of these towns, when one crucial business or one crucial operation goes down, whether it's a church or a store or a gas station or a post office frequently. That will be the end of the town. Well, we met an old timer in Tagus who told us about the loss of their church, which they blamed on vandalism. The church burned to the ground. But we hear those stories, and we try to pass them on via our website.
Troy, I'm running out of time here, so if people want more information, want to find out more or visit, where's the best place to go?
GhostsofNorthDakota.com.
It's that easy. So thanks so much for joining us today and telling us your story.
Thank you very much.
Stay tuned for more. Get ready for a boot-stomping, toe-tapping good time with the Wood Picks from Thief River Falls, Minnesota. This group performs a mix of country and bluegrass that can turn any venue into a barn dance.
I'm the center of attention in this barroom, 'cause I've got the biggest heartache of the year. And each night those swinging doors reach out for me and draw me in, 'cause turn me on and watch me cry for you. Lately, drinking warm red wine is all I wanna do. And I never know how tight I wind me up until I walk in. But I don't care, 'cause I'll be back to wind me up again. Well, I'd like to thank the men that raised the grapes way out in California. And I'm hoping this will be their biggest year. 'Cause scarlet water's all that's left to keep me hanging on. And that's why I'll try to wind me up each day and night next year. Wind me up, turn me on, and watch me cry for you. Lately, drinking warm red wine is all I wanna do. And I never know how tight I wind me up till I walk in. But I don't care, 'cause I'll be back to wind me up again. Wind me up, turn me on, and watch me cry for you. Lately, drinking warm red wine is all I wanna do. And I never know how tight I wind me up till I walk in. But I don't care, 'cause I'll be back to wind me up again.
Hi, we are the Woodpicks, and the name is derived from years back when we started playing together. Who would come and play with me, or who would go do this gig? So, and as it came around, Milo came back to town, and the rest is history. So it's not the Woodticks or anything like that, ladies and gentlemen.
Woodpicks.
It's the Woodpicks, all one word, WOODPICKS.
On the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they fix, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And you, up to tender years, can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with their youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they fix, told you you would cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
Well, that's all we have on Prairie Pulse for this week. And as always, thanks for watching.
Funding for Minnesota Legacy programs are provided by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, and by the members of Prairie Public.